Thanks so much. I'm really honored to be joined here by Peter Julian, my neighbor, my House leader, and also the Member of Parliament for New Westminster Burnaby. Thanks for joining us today. We want to talk about the recent report released by Justice Hogue. We know that foreign interference is something that's very serious, something that Canadians are worried about. We want to defend our democracy. We want to make sure that our democracy is free from foreign interference. We also want to make sure that everyday Canadians can live their lives without the threat or harassment of a foreign government. So we had called for this public inquiry. The Liberals had said no. We were the first.
What up, homies? It's your boy, Wowinfo. We're going to cover a lot of topics today on this episode. We're going to start with interference. I am 100%. Not only do I not agree with the findings, I find that the findings are very laxadated, if you want to say that. So they're missing. It's missing a lot of key, crucial components of information. We were supposed to find out who did what and where did it go and how did it happen. None of those things were answered. Not only that, we don't know who, we don't know when, and we don't know where. So the findings of this report are very hollow and shallow, and it's not good. It's really bad, actually. The report doesn't find anything conclusive or dramatically one-sided. This happened. It's not. It's so softball report. It hurts. See, there's too many cooks in the kitchen, and all these cooks take no responsibility for their actions. All these commanders and chiefs, we'll call them for a second, which I've never found them to be. I think no one should. I mean, you can see these people, they literally sit around all day in their cashmere sweaters and their suit jackets with their pink hoodies and their pink headdresses and the guy's pink shirt there. You got people running around in cashmere and pink, and they love Canada. You know what I mean? So we pay them. This is right now. This guy's supposed to be sounding tough right now. He wore a pink turban, and he's gonna talk big on Elon Musk in about 12 or 15 minutes. He's gonna say how he's pissed. He's mad at Elon Musk right now, so he's trying to do all he can. He's brought it up with the government. He's talking to the government about Elon and Twitter and this and that. So we watch. Now, with regard to Canada and misinformation and disinformation, and they bring up social media, this is the one that really gets me. You all have to recognize what's going on right now. The people who we pay, we elect them to protect us, are trying to take away social media and the influence that it has on the people, we the people. Now, sometimes there's a good person whose voice will not be heard by the people we've elected, by the news agencies we watch, that the government pays. So you see, we've already failed, right? The news agencies are owned by a billionaire, and the news agencies get buyouts from the federal government. You understand how bad this is? The people who sit at a desk for 12 minutes a day and tell you one segment of the news and then it passes to the next person make $100,000+ a year. And then they had federal, they were given money during 2020. Multi-million dollars. Purses handed to people who did the news. And we know that the people who did the news misinformed us. They gave us disinformation. I'll bring up some prime key examples of this. They said, don't wear masks on Canadian news. They said they don't help. 1 week later, 1 or 3 days later, some of the news agencies were like, no, now all of a sudden, wear masks again, wear masks. And then a week later, it was, no, masks aren't helping, masks aren't helping. And then again, this went on again and again and again. From the news agencies given hundreds of millions of dollars by the federal government. So when we talk misinformation and disinformation, should we be allowing the entities who misinform us or have misinformed us for quite some time? Should we penalize them? Should we fire and criminally charge or sue the people responsible for misinforming us in 2020? If they pass any laws that would govern social media, or rather misinformation and disinformation, we will sue them. We will criminally charge them for their actions. So every time they create a law, we will use their laws that they create against them. This is the way. We will learn to be as conniving and deceitful as they are, as those who govern us. I'm really appalled at the ability of YouTube to share out my videos. I'm in talks right now with agencies of North America and England, Europe, and even abroad, far abroad. Germany is onto you now, YouTube and Google, Canada, and they are looking into who governs this platform, and they're going to see to it international charges, criminal charges are laid, as I am a German national, and you can never take that away from me. As you hinder my voice on YouTube, I'm going to let you know that we are watching you. AI is some of the most pathetic, level of what you would call computation imaginable, fathomable, as it came from most of the rednecks' intellect in America. We're raising redneck baby AIs all over America. Please, whatever you do, don't trust an AI for information, as they are 95% of the time wrong. As I proved on one of my last videos, hey, this man's much smarter than any AI. Go check out that video and see to it that you do, and pass it on and tell all your friends. there are so many corrupt people that work for corporations. You should all be ashamed to know them.
Party to call for it, and now we've got the report. What Justice Hogue has highlighted, I think one of the biggest points that she made in her report was the deep concern she has regarding misinformation and disinformation, particularly on social media, and how we do not have tools right now to combat that, and it is rampant. The amount of misinformation that is available is rampant, and that is a serious concern for democracy and for an upcoming election. And so that is a concern that was highlighted by Justice Hogue. I think that concern is also exacerbated by the leader of the Conservative Party's decisions and his actions. Pierre Poilievre has accepted the endorsement of Elon Musk, someone whose platform is also one of the worst actors in a lot of ways around misinformation and disinformation. Coupled with the fact that Pierre Poilievre also wants to defund a public broadcaster, which is a source of real information, journalistic integrity, really highlights a dangerous set of priorities given Justice Hogue's findings of misinformation and the need for fact checks and fact confirmation. What other things that Justice Hogue highlighted, I want to point out, is he said that all political leaders should get security clearance and receive information that is pertinent to their parties or to democracy in general. And that highlights the real concerns that Canadians have raised about Pierre Poilievre, the only leader of a political party that has not received security clearance. And so that was highlighted. And I think finally, Justice Hogue did raise concerns about sitting parliamentarians and questionable or concerning behavior. And I'll highlight, she said, of questionable ethics. And that is something in the context of foreign interference that I'm concerned by. Ultimately, what we want to see is now the recommendations that Justice Hogue has made be implemented. I've instructed my party, my national director and team, to follow all of the recommendations as it relates to political parties so that we're doing our part. I encourage other political leaders to do the same. Donc, on a reçu le rapport de Justice Hogue. Premièrement, je veux remercier Justice Hogue pour son travail. I forgot to say this in English, and I want to just reiterate. I want to thank Justice Hogue for her work, her team for her work. There's a lot of important work that was done, and I want to deeply thank Justice Hogue for that. Donc, je veux remercier Justice Hogue pour son travail. C'est tellement important le travail qu'elle a fait. Et je veux souligner quelques éléments de son rapport. Elle a dit qu'il y a une grande peur de désinformation, le fait qu'il y a des réseaux sociaux qui ont plusieurs messages qui ne sont pas vrais, qui sont faux, et c'est une menace à notre démocratie. C'est particulièrement concernant parce qu'on a un chef de parti conservateur qui accepte l'appui de Elon Musk. Elon Musk est propriétaire d'un réseau social qui a beaucoup de désinformation. Donc ça, c'est vraiment inquiétant. Deuxièmement, elle a dit que tous les chefs des partis politiques doivent avoir un code de sécurité. Et Pierre Poilievre est le seul chef qui n'a pas un code de sécurité. Donc, ça souligne comment il ne prend pas au sérieux les menaces d'ingérence étrangère. Finalement, en général, notre inquiétude, c'est qu'on doit protéger notre démocratie, notre système de démocratie et les élections. Donc, j'ai dit à mon équipe que vous devez suivre toutes les recommandations du rapport pour des partis politiques et j'encourage tous les autres partis de faire les mêmes choses. Avec ça, je suis prêt pour vos questions. With that, I'm ready for any questions you have.
Okay, we're going to start with questions on site. We'll start with CTV.
Hi, Craig Gross with CTV News. In the report from Justice Hogue, you mentioned that there was some foreign interference, maybe not to this substantial amount that would affect the election, the past elections that we've had. Do you know of any ridings that you have an eye on that potentially are impacted by foreign interference?
I'm concerned with what Justice Hogue raised was that while she concluded it did not impact the overall election, but there were specific races where there could have been an impact and it could have changed the decision or changed the result in specific ridings. Given what we've seen here in our province of BC, that an election can be determined by sometimes one or two seats, that to me is very concerning. I don't have a specific ridings that I'm concerned about at this point, but the idea that an election can be determined by just a couple of seats, and Justice Hogue conclusively said that there were a couple of ridings where there was evidence that foreign interference tipped the scale one way or the other. That to me highlights how important this work is.
And you mentioned misinformation and disinformation becoming a growing threat and something that's happened in the past as well. Do you have a couple of examples that you've seen that are concerning to you?
Yeah, we're seeing right now somewhat like an AI created misinformation about political leaders right now. You could go online and see different political leaders from parties. You can see me in a fake video trying to get people into a pyramid scheme, which is completely false and not true. But that's also being applied to other political leaders as well. It's something that Pierre Poilievre's included in one. I think all the leaders are impacted by this type of AI created video where it looks like it's actually the person speaking. There's a voice dubbed over. But that's an example of really concerning trends that we're seeing where it's people, their voices or similar voices, their videos, and it could really easily make people think that that's the person. And I've heard people say that they were actually duped by these things. And so it's quite concerning that this is going on.
I'm going to go to Joe from the City TV next.
Thanks for taking the time. And just with this report coming in, obviously there is some examples of foreign interference. Just how, in your opinion, does that affect public trust with the federal government?
That is another crucial part about this. When we talk about defending our democracy, one is we want to make sure that the vote itself, that people can vote and know that the vote matters. But there's also the public trust in the institution. We want to make sure people believe that their vote matters. And so there's a combination of factors. One is we want to make sure the system is free from interference. But we want to make sure people trust the system. And I think the allegations of foreign interference add to maybe an existing cynicism that, does my vote even matter? Then you've got allegations of the foreign governments impacting the outcome of an election.
All right, guys, I just want to let you guys know there's something big going on YouTube, eh? We're going to have to get to the bottom of this through police and